And Max, you have prepared something for us. And yeah.
Thank you, Ella. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you particularly to invite me to contribute another perspective. I think yeah, I've not been part of the cultural class or worked as an artist, but obviously always participated in culture and thought about the relationships between culture and platforms and enterprises like Google. So what I thought was I would give you some ideas, some reflections about what works and what are parts of the phenomena that the engine of transformation that is happening online, and based on that basically derive a couple of considerations regarding the cultural enterprise of the future. But before I do that, I really want to bring out a disclaimer and say, Google is not a cultural enterprise. It, of course, has an organizational culture, and I think there is a lot of interesting trends happening that we can see at Google. We have not been very present in the cultural debate in Germany so far, but we're certainly looking forward to increase that engagement and to interact with the artists and the cultural entrepreneurs and organizers. So we're really glad to be here. As said, my focus will be a little bit on the phenomenon, the cultural phenomenon that is Google, and how the trends that we see and why Google works and what it does enables the cultural enterprise of the future. So I'll derive some points from that. But let me start by bringing or taking us on a 10,000-foot view and just stress the point that it is only in the last 200 years that the technologies of culture, the media of culture have been transformed so drastically, and in that regard really changed the reach and the cultural object as such. So I think your idea to bring us together to reflect about the how do we want to shape the cultural enterprise of the future is really timely, because it is a conscious shaping and us understanding the different contexts that and incentives and platforms and tools that we have so we can shape this experience. Maybe just as one quick side note, when I was thinking about the cultural enterprise of the future, there's one aspect of Google's internal culture that I think is quite interesting, maybe not to cultural enterprises that are dedicated 100% to culture, but to integrate cultural activities in everything we do. And that is, at Google, every employee is allowed to use 20% of his time in projects that he or she believes in. So there's a lot of self-organization and development of social capital and community work, artistic work, of course the, prototyping and just development in that area. I thought that was something that not for the exclusive cultural enterprise, but for everybody to think about. But let me quickly tease out some points about Google as a cultural phenomenon and then as an engine of transformation. First of all, we all know the story of the Oracle of Delphi, where you could go and it gives you answers. Somehow it's similar at Google. You go in, there's just this little search box, and it gives you answers. You have to interpret them. There might be more indications than the direct answer, yes or no, that you needed. But it is a new cultural phenomenon and such. And more connected to our understanding of culture transforms and moves into the future and how we can see it. Google Zeitgeist is a way to see what is in people's minds, what is moving the people. So for example, the day Michael Jackson died and the days after that, you see an enormous spike in searches in that direction. So we sort of have a rather objective way to look at how culture, how human community and togetherness is moving on and what they're interested in. Then I think Google can be an organization where we can that we can look at to think about what are the things to come. How are the digital aspects of our culture and our society playing out? So things like Google Earth really enable us to get a new perspective on the planet, where we are, how our environment looks like, the satellite pictures, etc. And of course, the Google Book Search project enables us to really bring in all the history, all the books that are not available to buy anymore. And that is, of course, an aspect that allows us to have this history, future. It doesn't matter when a book was printed, as long as it's part of our digital online archive, then it's there forever, basically. So the end of history debate comes to mind when we think about these aspects of digital and online culture emerging. But the three key points that I want to make, and that I'm also going to relate to our considerations and reflections about the cultural enterprise of the future, are democratization of means of production, access to knowledge and culture, and openness of infrastructure and of the tools that we use to create culture. So just on the democratization of the means of production aspect, I see that on the one hand, the technology and the tools that we get, especially the Web 2.0 tools, the social web stuff, YouTube basically enables everybody to become a video artist and to bring forward the work on a global scale without asking anybody before whether that's okay or not. So Habermas, of course, describes the structural transformation that is happening over the last 100 years or so. And I think it's really an interesting niche that the gatekeepers, the curators, the organizers of culture somehow change their role and become more facilitators, organizers, entrepreneurs that do drive forward. So there's a change of role. And that is also what I see in the forms of production that we have in a digital environment, in environments that use a lot of technology. And that is, on the one hand, each individual is empowered to produce a whole world, to produce an immersive environment where you can really delve in and have a complete experience by himself or herself. While on the other hand, the cultural production process has been incredibly more collaborative across time and space. So we have projects from all over the world coming together, and we are discussing about the pieces of cultural production that we do together, and a division of labor also to a certain degree. Equally important, I would like to stress the access and the ease that we have these days to participate in culture and to learn about culture, the global reach that is more and more present, the massive drop of access costs. I think London has set a really good example in making, I think it's not all of them, but most of the museums in London are actually free of charge. And I think, if we find ways to finance and fund institutions of culture and of art in that way, that would be really, really good. The mobile internet allows people in Africa, across the world, to really leapfrog onto the same cultural space that has traditionally been reserved for Western cultures or rich cultures. So it's becoming more and more a level playing field. And last but not least, I'd like to come back to that Oracle of Delphi, the Oracle of Google, where we do need certain appliances to make the environment that we have created in cyberspace usable and useful for each one of us. And a point that has come up in several of the free culture debates is, of course, openness. And I can only say that openness seems to, for me and for Google, the only way to develop in the future, because this brings the competition, pushes innovation, and really allows to partner up and work on common goals together. And allow me, before I go into some considerations, particularly on the cultural enterprise of the future, to congratulate Michelle Teheran with her Buscando al Señor Goodbar project that uses Google Earth and YouTube, etc. And I think just shows in a very nice way how the online platforms that are out there can be used to create value, to create art, and to make us reflect more about the everyday challenges and developments that we perceive. And in that context, as I have a human rights background, I always want to stress that Google is a platform and a tool maker, and there are projects that are more critically engaging with the services, and others that are more using it in a constructive way, and I think that's fine. I think it's a free culture environment, and there should be developments in all these directions. So I used three famous people to base my considerations on, so I don't feel too far out there. The first one that I think is pretty much based on the workshop that has been developed on teams and the way that we collaborate, and that is that Joseph Beuys said everybody is an artist. So it's really about the different motivations why people want to become engaged in cultural work and cultural enterprises. And I think, whoa, I hope I'm not losing this here. I think that it's really about embracing the different, I did lose it, it's now down here. It's really that there is a myriad of different ways of how culture can be organized, and there's not one cultural enterprise of the future, but a whole spectrum, from a full-time professional job artist to the people who are just happily doing do-it-yourself projects and the maker culture. And to bring a concrete example, Etsy, the eBay platform for handicraft goods, is a perfect way for people to not only be creative, create culture, but also make some kind of value and living out of it, depending how much they want. If they just want to stitch or create cultural works on their weekend, then they can sell these, or they can become more professional, just like eBay sellers are from all streaks of life. The second one is that there was a discussion on licenses and how can you organize copyright and intellectual property in a way that really allows us to see different aspects of culture evolve and new objects of culture develop. And Lawrence Lessig, the creator of Creative Commons, coined this term that creativity is always based on the past. And I think that really illustrates this point very nicely. We do need ways to be able to remix and mash up the works of culture that we develop. And last but not least, we are looking at digital art and digital culture in particular. And Walter Benjamin, the German philosopher, wrote a wonderful book in The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. And I think a lot of the value creation and the loss of the traditional business models and way that we used to organize art are based on this. Well, if it's reproducible and scalable and packaged and used as a product, as we have seen with the music industry and the chart music, there's really, I see two particular points that stick out as value, as created values. One is the experience itself, so everything that has to do with life, with performance, etc., is still a very strong point. And there I'd like to highlight Metallica, who have been not so good in other terms with free culture, etc., but they're selling the recording of the concert that you have been to that night. And you go home and it's a completely different connection and a different value that you have when you have that recording. And on the other hand, relationships are really key to the value creation that we see. So being part of something, of a community, and the way that this creates your social identity is a very strong source of value in this context. And this has been known since the Grateful Dead, who always encouraged people to record their concerts. Today, the frontman of Nine Inch Nails is really pushing this to the next limit, and encouraging his fans to publish the videos of his shows, etc., on YouTube to allow them to be recognized when they're together in the same space, etc. So I hope this helps us to define some of the discussion points from now on.